guys that are sitting on the floor in the back row, and I have Play-Doh in the front. Just a few of you, like 5. I don't want it to be chaos. But if you have acted out of your flesh before, I want to give this example. I want you to come up, grab a straw, and just gouge it into they're cheap straws, so they bend. I tried it. Just gouge it into the Play-Doh. If you have acted out of your emotions, if you've acted out of your emotions towards your husband, if you have torn down your child because you're angry that they couldn't get their math problem, if you have oh, now there's a spirit of conviction coming over the room. It's like, wait, I feel guilty sitting here not poking the Play-Doh. So these straws represent, I think this is a great visual that we could all use, and I heard about it. It's not my creation. I just redesigned it for homeschool moms. But to me, this represents, like, when you're first starting to learn to control your emotions, do this. I acted out of my emotions today. Boom. And then as you begin to see a victory, and you get one victory, I want you to pull a straw back out. So has anyone had a victory? Yes. Come, if you feel like you have a victory, I need like 7 people to come pull a straw back out here. As you have a victory, pull them back out. So come pull the straws back out. We'll pull it back out. Okay, well, if no one else has had a victory, just 7 volunteers. Just take it. You can have it. This is a souvenir. I'll keep one of them. Okay, so look at this. So up until now, we've probably been poking straws. Straws at our children. Oh, I cannot tell you how many times I regret just changing my tone. I'm not a screamer. I have this, excuse me? Which means, I don't know what you said, but you are in trouble. And they know it. But I'm pretty calm. But if you look at this, I've been doing that all these years, and so have you. But as we start to get healing, we're going to pull them out. And some of you, when you look at the end of your straws, you will see that there's still pieces of the Play-Doh in the end. And there are holes in this. So whenever we act out of our emotions and we let our emotions and our circumstance, what happens is there's a circumstance that happens. It gets into your thoughts. You think on it so much that it creates emotion. It makes you quick to react. And then you start wounding people. You start shooting darts. And you cause people to have their little emotional fits. But when you do that, you have left wounds behind. You can't do anything about those scars except for love your children, love your husband, love your friends. We can hurt our friends. We can hurt each other. There's so much opportunity to act out of emotions. We can hurt the cashier at Walmart just because we don't like standing in the lines, and why don't they open the other 26 registers? And we're mean, and we're supposed to be Christians. Here's the deal. Like, look at the world. They don't have the hope in Jesus Christ that we have. So why do we look so much like them? Because we, A, don't understand the hope that we have, and B, we don't understand that every time we don't choose to abide in Him, to follow His ways, to follow the Spirit, it costs us something. So James 3:16, it's on your sheet, 3rd one down. It says, "For wherever you have envy and selfish ambition," in my favorite version, it actually says strife, "there you will find disorder and every evil practice." Look at the definition of selfish ambition: rivalry, disputes, selfishness. Whether you realize it or not, when we act out of our emotions, we're being selfish. And it creates strife. And as soon as we do that, opening the door to the enemy. Satan is on a mission to make you feel inadequate, to make you act out of your emotions. So let's look at the first diagram. Just by the way, not anymore. Is anybody in here that thinks they need to be in here? Is this good? Do we all need this? I need it daily. Okay, so this is silly, but this is literally how I think about it. In the first one on your left, there's you, that's mom. She's got her keys in her hand, little high heels, and she's just awesome. No waves are coming at her. It's peaceful. It's beautiful outside. And then, boom, a trial comes. They can't make their bills that month. The husband lost his job. Or the child just can't get through math. I use math a lot. Math grieves me. I need a personal tutor for me. So the trouble comes. And this is the thing that we need to get as followers of Christ, is that at that moment we have a choice. But if we don't know that we have a choice, what happens is illustration number 2 on the right, is I'm going through life. This is a progression of time. So I was in a really good place, and then it's like, boom, the trial hits, and I fall down into the pit. So trials will come. We'll have high highs. We'll have wins, and then we'll have low lows. We will lose loved ones. Husbands will lose jobs. Things are going to happen. This world is evil. They will happen. So you see her. She's down there in the valley. We have hills and valleys. She's down there in the valley, and what happens when you're down there? Your thoughts spin and swirl, and you become consumed, and you're like, what if you start projecting into the future? What if we won't be able to pay our bills in 2015? I just don't think I can endure 2 more years of this. But God said, just today, I can do anything for a day. Just today. But she's down there, and she's got all those thoughts rolling around her head, and then depression comes. Loneliness, helplessness. She's down there, and she literally is like that mom that you ask, how are you doing? And she's so self-loathing and so self-pitying that you could offer her a word of encouragement and a hug, and she's the one, she can't hardly get up because she's just like, my life is awful. And the word of God almost won't even minister to her heart because she's so wrapped up and controlling. Her emotions have controlled her. So, what do we do? Do you want to be like that girl? I try to not be. I used to be that girl. I was talking to a friend of mine. She's in here, I think, Sherry Blair. She's right there. And I was talking to her about what had she overcome. How did she overcome letting emotions control her? And she told me that she used to fear and worry a lot. And when she finished talking, I was like, Sherry, I used to be a worrywart. I was so filled with fear, but I forgot. I've been healed for so long from that specifically. I still have other issues. But I've been healed from that so long until she told me I forgot. God is no respecter of persons, and I want you to know what he will do for me, what he'll do for Sherry, he will do for you. And we're going to do 3 things. Go through 3 steps. They're kind of in your notes. It starts with emotions. The first thing before we go to the next illustration you need to understand is that emotions, I want you to write this down. Our emotions are your power over the enemy, not the enemy's power over you. They're your power over the enemy, not the enemy's power over you. This is giant because they feel like emotions are kind of something, negative emotions, that they control you, right? They feel like they have power over you. Well, if you think about a dashboard of a car, and I've said this before, but I'm like, when the car dealers were making a dashboard and putting all the car together, I really don't think they sat around the boardroom and said, hey, I've got a great idea. Let's put a dashboard in the car with all these lights so that when they go off, the owner will be like, how much is that going to cost me? I got to get a new car. Oh, financially, we're going to be devastated. That's not why they did it. The reason why they gave us that dashboard was so that we would see the light and realize, hey, there might be a problem. And we want you to know about it before you have a train wreck. And that is exactly why emotions are our power over the enemy and not the enemy's power over us. It is because emotions are a dashboard to what's going on under the hood in our hearts. When we step up and have that offended heart or that negative emotion, you know how you can almost be offended sometimes? My struggle is rejection. I was rejected when I was little, and I've continued to be rejected, and I do not like being left out. It has a giant opportunity to hurt my feelings. And I really honestly felt like my husband would always leave me. I just thought everyone in my life will eventually leave me, and so I just have never held on tight. And so when you have that, it's like if I react and something happens and it starts to hurt my feelings, I literally have to stop. Illustration number 3 on the left on the bottom. The trouble comes. And here it is. It's that opportunity for me to feel rejected. And how I overcome that is I have to just pause. Just stop. What we do is we let the thought in, and then we let it churn, and then we send it out. And it's like, stop. I refuse to think about you. I refuse to give this another thought. I have to pause in that moment. We are not a pausing society. But it's time to learn to pause. Selah. No. The thought can come, but you can't let it stew till it ends up with a reaction or a statement or gossip, right? Or hurtful words. So I believe in Galatians 5. And there's a big chunk of it's not in your notes, that God tells us, he tells us in Galatians 5, he just sits there and tells us, these are all the fruits of your flesh. When we react out of negative emotions, out of anger, out of fear, out of offended heart, that is our flesh crying out. Yet all of us every day, we're like, I want to be more like you, Jesus. But he tells us in here, hey, let me show you your dashboard. Brrr. This is the dashboard of your flesh. And it's telling you when anger rises up, when sadness rises up, it's telling you, hey, this is a response of your flesh, and you need to go under the hood and do a heart check. And ask me, God, where am I not trusting you? Why is this hurting me so much? Father, what is it that has a control on me? I don't want to be like this anymore. I've prayed for years, like, I want to be the same in here as I am out there. For a man thinks in his heart, so is he. I want that integrity. I don't want to have two sides of my mouth, a thought in my heart. It has to go. It cannot stay.